Okay, so before we actually start in on lesson one and start working our way through that book, I just wanted to touch on the two fundamental aspects of music reading, and just music understanding in general that we're going to be covering. So, pulse and beat and rhythm is one category. Pulse slash beat and rhythm, they're related, but they're not the same thing. Pulse or beat, we can use those terms basically interchangeably, are literally the heartbeat of the music, the da, 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 that we feel underneath everything. It's what you tap your foot to. It's what you tap your steering wheel to. It's what you turn the metronome on for. So it's just the fundamental pulse of musical life. It's the fundamental pulse of our day. When we hear a clock ticking, I think we're literally wired to feel pulse and beat. And it's part of what makes music enjoyable. So that's a stable element, pretty much. I mean, obviously, even with the human heart rate, it fluctuates a little, but basically, a pulse is a recurring beat. Okay, keeps the music flowing, keeps it going. The rhythm sits on top of that, and rhythm can just be loosely defined as just duration of notes when they start and stop. So an example of a rhythm would be ba 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 ba. That rhythm sitting on top of the pulse is ba 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 ba. Or another rhythm would be ba 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 ba. We layer that on the pulse, ba 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 ba. So pulse and beat, rhythm. That's one category. It's the trickier category often for people, the trickier fundamental for a lot of people to master who are learning to read music. I find generally just in the people I work with. For most people, the easier fundamental aspect of music is pitch, higher, lower, being able to sort of get an idea of what the staff is telling us, what the score is telling us, just by watching the shape of the notes going up and down. A lot of people find that more intuitive. There are some details, we need to learn with that, and we certainly will totally cover that in depth as well. But rhythm and understanding that is typically the trickier area for most people to understand and eventually realize. There's, of course, other details, and we will cover them as they are relevant to us. Things like, repeat signs and endings, and some of the Italian markings that we'll see in scores regularly, like dal segno, the little symbols and things like that tell us where to go, fine, and ral for rallentando, or rit for slowing down, the diminuendo and crescendi markings, things like that. We will get into that, but that's really like the icing on the cake. It's not really, the absolute fundamentals of understanding how to read music. So we're not going to spend a whole ton of time on them. That'll sort of come at the end. It's not the first thing we're going to be doing. Okay, so just to kind of give you an idea of the two fundamental things we're going to be covering: beat, pulse, rhythm, all of that, and then pitch.